Welcome to Master the Game. I am Juice, and today is day 26 of RPG A Day 2021. Today's prompt is going to be play. So let's get started. If this is your first time here, be sure to smash that subscribe button and give us a like if you like this content. Really quick before we jump into it, I do want to quickly say we have a new tier over on Patreon. Link is down in the link tree below if you're interested in going and checking it out. In this tier, we are going to be running a campaign for all the people who are part of this tier. So if you're interested in something like that, again, head on over there. We will be doing a session 0 sometime in mid to late September to flesh out what exactly is going to happen in the campaign, set everyone's expectations between players and the group. And it's just going to be a good time. So if that sounds like something you want to do, again, head on over there. Today's word is play. This is a word that inspires a lot of things in me. For example, when I started this one Facebook group about 6 years ago at this time, I think it was late 2014, we had this motto: don't just talk about it, be about it. So in other words, don't just talk about gaming, play games. Now, at that time in 2014, you didn't have Critical Role on your screens. You didn't have a lot of good streamed games. Heck, you just didn't have a lot of streamed games in general. You had Acquisitions Incorporated, and that was probably the highest production value. I think Will Wheaton's Tabletop had done the Dragon Age game and some board games, but there weren't a lot of role-playing game live plays at the time. In fact, when there were, people kind of were like, oh, that's not very interesting. Why would people watch it? You know, things like that. But you had a lot of people talking about RPGs and how the right way to play is, and immersive play, and, you know, all these theories out there. And so a few of us did a chat one time. I believe it was during Gen Con 2014. We did a live stream, and we talked about how, yeah, all these people are talking about how to play games, but there's no good examples of how this is done. And so we started this group, and the group grew to like 4,000 members within, I would say, a few months. Maybe it was even a year. I don't quite remember the time frame. I do know that when I no longer, decided to be a part of it, it was about 4,000 members. So, yeah, I don't know how big it is now. I know it closed down and someone brought it back. But anyways, so this group, though, we had this theory that it was like, hey, don't just talk about it, be about it. Don't just talk about playing games, actually play games. And some people lived and died by that. You know, you had people like Lloyd Collins who ran games like 31 days straight for the group. You had all sorts of people doing stuff like this. And it was amazing. You know, we had some wonderful campaigns. The Provokers started out of that. The Provokers was a campaign I was part of. I played Brasswick Feeblehammer. This campaign ran for well over a year. They're doing, I think, Season 2 now. Beyond the Bleak Wraith, I think is the name of it. New characters, I believe. I'm not part of Season 2. I was part of Season 1. And again, it was a great campaign. I really loved it. This also made me run more games. You know, just putting it out there like, hey, guys, let's stop talking about games. Let's play more games, made me run more games at that time. Back then, my playstyle was completely different than it is now. Playing in a lot of the games I played opened up my mind to what things could be like. And I seen how other people role played and narrated things. And just basically learned a ton of stuff that you don't learn without either watching someone play or playing yourself. So that was huge. And, there's great tips videos out there. If you want to hear someone talk about RPGs, you can see that here on this channel. You can see it on a variety of other channels. But I think the best way to learn is to actually play the games and play with a variety of people with different play styles. If you've never played a certain style of game and you've heard people talk about it and it doesn't sound like your thing, I would recommend trying it once. And then you'll know for sure if that is something you like or don't. For example, I used to be more about heavy combat, less role play, less social interactions. I used to be all about the combat. That's what tabletop RPGs were to me. It was a simulation of trying to, attack things and beat things and, get stronger as you went. That to me is what RPGs were about 10 years ago. yeah, role-playing was fun, but for me, it wasn't as important as the combat stuff. And I had fun with that style. I always enjoyed myself, especially when playing with other people that were like-minded. But playing with people who role-played more, who got into their characters and their characters' motivations more, again, it opened my eyes. It made me realize what an RPG could be. It taught me that I do like this other style. And I think for a long time, the thing that put me off to that was that people acted elitist, in my opinion. They would say, this is the only way to play. And they would tell me, you're playing the game wrong if you aren't trying to do this, and stuff like that. And I hated that. And it wasn't necessarily people I'd played with. It was always people on YouTube or in blog posts or forums. It was never anybody I actually played with. Now, as someone who usually DM'd games, story was very important to me still. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't just, hey, set up a combat after another. But as someone who ran the games, to me, trying to come up with a decent story or what could be the story in the background was very important to me. And so my mindset pre-2014 on running a game also changed. I saw a variety of games in this time. I saw a very railroady experience with a game, with a few games, where it was like, hey, this is basically plotted out. Like, here's what you're going to do. And that was cool. And I saw open sandbox games. Again, very cool. Completely different styles. I can do both as a player, but I like a mixture. I don't like it completely railroaded. And I don't like it completely sandbox. Again, I like a blend of the two. I like being able to explore the world and do what I want, but I also want clear direction once we're going down a certain path. So, again, I don't think either style's bad in and of itself. And with different groups, I prefer different styles as well. When I played with my sister and her husband, and then when I played a different time with my wife's family, I think both of those situations, I like it a little bit more structured with a little more direction. When I play with some of my more, RP heavy friends, I think a lean towards more sandbox is okay. Because then we can see where the story goes. We can see where the players want to take it. We can see, where it naturally progresses to. But, it just depends. So, what I'm trying to say in this whole video, though, is to be open to different play styles. Don't just watch a couple videos that reinforce your beliefs on YouTube. Try a few different styles yourself. I've played around with the idea of how books are written and video games with like cut scenes and things like that. And I really like that. I love the idea of flashbacks and other narrative tools that can be used in RPGs. To me, RPGs and like books and reading are not far off from each other. You can take a lot of those tools from reading a book and be like, oh, I really like this flashback moment. I want to put that into my RPG and do that in this scene. Because I find that when you think about RPGs and scenes, again, you can do a lot more with it. Figure out, okay, I really want this scene, and this scene. You can tie those together relatively easy, especially if you're good at improvising and letting the players do what they want, but then figuring out a way to tie the scenes into it. Or a specific, couple lines of information that you want to work into the game somehow. Maybe you prepped that the tavern keep is going to be the one that delivers the hook, or somebody in the tavern is going to deliver the hook. The players don't go to the tavern. What do? It could be someone on the street. It could be someone at the butcher. It could be the blacksmith. It doesn't have to be the person you originally prepped. So again, being able to identify that and learn those skills is important. And for me, I learned it from playing the game. So again, don't just talk about RPGs. Be about them. Play more games. That's the lesson. Just play more games. This was Master the Game. I am Juice. Game on.